Songbirds. The average person probably doesn't give them much thought. They're just always around. Outside your window, eating from your bird feeder, in the tree branches as you take a morning walk. For the most part, their presence seems to be taken for granted. It's funny though, because if you think about it, songbirds really are a huge part of our lives. The fastest growing outdoor activity in the United States? Bird watching. In fact, 51.3 million Americans report that they watch birds.
Experts are blaming fireworks for the mysterious deaths of thousands of red-winged blackbirds in the U.S. on New Year's Eve.
The birds we see and love are under threat. Unfortunately, sound is a big problem and can have dramatic effects on bird life. Not only are the tragic deaths of these birds bad for recreation, they are also bad for our health.
Noise pollution is the sort of ugly stepsister of the pollution family. It's always forgotten about. And really, it's very important for affecting wildlife. We know more about how noise pollution affects humans than we do how it affects other forms of animals. So really, it's only sort of studied in the context of how do we make human life easier and not how do we make wildlife life easier, which is kind of unusual for a form of pollution. The most common human noise that we have is traffic. But buildings too produce a lot of noise. Air conditioning units and heating units are constantly going, clicking on and clicking off, and that produces a lot of hum, a lot of background noise. You'll be surprised, actually, how much noise there is in any one room. If you just sit down and think about the noises around you. You suddenly start to hear things that you weren't previously aware of. So in general, we found that environmental noise, specifically human-induced noise, decreases pair bond strength in these Australian zebra finches and also decreases the number of offspring that bluebirds produce. So it has significant, what we call fitness effects. The noise is depressing the fitness of these different songbirds. So a nice sort of side effect of doing this noise pollution work is that we've realized that birds will leave areas that are really noisy, especially areas where the noise is so loud in the particular frequency range that they're trying to sing to each other at, that if they can't communicate to each other, they'll go to another area and do their birdie things over in that area. Now, with myself and Professor Mark Hinders in the Applied Science Department, who's an acoustical engineer, he and I want to develop speakers and hook them up to solar power generators so we could create low-cost ways of producing controlled and contained noises that then drive birds away from those areas. So the ideas that we've thought about and where this could be relevant are airports. It sounds like a rarity to people who don't look into it, but it actually costs the US alone, if you count the military, billions of dollars a year. Another big application of using sound to move birds away to other areas could be in crop protection. So birds as pest species cause, again, billions of dollars of damage worldwide to crops, especially in developing nations, where people there are totally dependent on their local agriculture. They have to grow their own crops, otherwise they won't have food. It's as simple as that. And there are particular bird species that come in and devastate those crops on a regular basis, dropping crop yields by 80 to 90% in some areas. If we can produce a technology that helps protect those crops. Just by producing sound around those areas, we could make a substantial dent in not only the local economy of those farmers, but also literally their livelihoods and their health by protecting their food source.
Well, I think that it's important to protect all animals. I mean, in the big scheme of things, like the life cycle depends on the smallest of creatures, and if the birds are wiped out, then the bugs will go crazy, and then the things that eat birds will not have anything to eat, and they'll die out.
Is it important? Yeah. But what about us?
Like anything that's natural, anything that's probably good for the birds is good for us.
I'm not sure it would be at the top of my priority list, but of course we need to protect all of our wildlife.
They help the environment, and they provide pleasure to around the bird feeder, just to watch them.
Just listening to them, especially like in the morning when they're all just waking up and they're all chirping and singing. It is important.
They make life more real, more natural, more pretty, more lovely.